And tonight we have Jason Bowers and Chris Ward from Red Rising TV. These guys hunt the East Coast, mostly Maryland, Virginia, hunt the Midwest. So here we are tonight. Ask questions. How you guys doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
Yeah. Good. You know, we're thinking about work days here in Kansas, and it's going to be 100 tomorrow. So we're still waiting for the cool down.
Yeah, it's finally starting. This week's the first cool week we've had in probably all summer. So it's starting to feel like fall finally.
Yeah, I know.
Go ahead.
Oh, I can't wait. You know, it's college football starts, and you kind of start to feel that, and you get a few cool evenings here and there. And
yeah. My boy plays high school football. This is his first year, and last week was his first game. And, man, that feeling in the air, that fall feeling, you know, when you're under those lights, there's nothing like that.
Yeah, and you walk in, and the popcorn's going, and, the crowd's gathered around the track. Everybody's cheering. The pep band's going. I miss it so much. Yep. I bet you were a heck of a football player, Ward, weren't you?
I was pretty quick.
Yeah.
I was pretty quick. Never too big, but it was pretty quick.
You know what? Check the link below. We're going to post his high school records for you guys later. So
why
don't you?
I have some other records in high school that were better.
Before we get off on some tangent, why don't you guys tell everybody a little bit about what you do, where you're from, just a little bit about yourselves. About the show and how long you've been doing it and stuff, just to kind of catch everybody up to speed.
I'll go first. I'm like he said, I'm Chris Ward with Red Rising. We're on our 7th season this year. Just filmed our getting ready to go into our 8th season. I started this outdoor television, I guess 16 or 17 years ago, maybe longer, with Drury Outdoors. Was with them for several years. We broke off and started our own show, Legends of the Fall. We did that for, I think, 5 seasons, maybe 6. It's still going. But we broke off from that show and hooked up with Jason here. And we started at Red Rising. And like I said, we just finished up our 7th season last fall. So I live in Virginia, southwestern part of Virginia. We're up here in the Appalachian Mountains on the Blue Ridge Parkway. I'm a probation and parole officer. I'm really getting close to retirement on that. I own a family-owned auction company. We've had it for 43 years. I'm an auctioneer. We do that every weekend. So basically, I work 2 full-time jobs other than what we do with the hunting show. So I live a busy life. I have 3 kids, and it's a busy life. So that's mine. That's my story.
Yeah, we're all really busy. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dan.
Well, everybody is, but I think I learned something. I didn't know you were an auctioneer. So
yeah, I have been working auctions since I was probably 8 years old.
Well, we're gonna have to bring out that skill at the next ATA show some evening.
We can do it.
How about you, Jason?
Well, I mean, like I said, I'm Jason Bowers, Red Rising, 7th season. I think Chris covered a lot. I mean, we live here close by. Raised here, grew up hunting here, learned how to hunt in the Blue Ridge Mountains. I'm a realtor, an insurance agent, and an auctioneer as well. Volunteer firefighter, and I run a trophy trout business. So like Chris said, I mean, we're all very extremely busy, and I mean, we got full-time jobs and try to hunt and do everything on top of it. So we love to hunt and film.
You know, I think you guys are what everybody is out there. We all have busy lives and families and kids and jobs, but we've managed to break away and go do it. You guys are just doing it at a super high level. So tell us what channel your show is on and when it airs.
We're on Sportsman's Channel. We're actually on a Realtree block now. We're on Tuesday nights at 8, Tuesday mornings at 11, Fridays at 4 p.m., I believe.
Awesome. Well, good. Well, what do you guys want to talk about tonight?
Hunting.
Talk about anything.
All right. Well, again, I'll mention if anybody out there has some questions, just shoot away. So we're all here to answer them tonight and talk about stuff. So why don't you guys tell me a little bit about when you can start hunting in Virginia there, and where you're planning on going this year?
Well, Obviously, we're going to start out. I think Eric is going to head out to Maryland next week. I don't think Jason and I are going to head to Maryland this year. We're going to start here in Virginia. We have several different farms that we're getting, a lot of good pictures of bucks on. And then late October, I'm heading to Kansas. Last year, I didn't get a Kansas tag. It was my turn.
Not many people did.
Yeah. Jason and I alternate on that farm every other year. And it was my turn last year, and I didn't draw a tag for the first time, and I don't know when. So it's my turn this year. I got a tag. So Eric and I are heading out to Kansas, and I think Jason's going to try to work something out in Kansas. And I know I'm going to Texas later on, and I just don't know what's going to fill in between. But we always want to try to take some bucks here in our home state, here in the mountains, because I think a lot of our following are East Coast hunters, North Carolina, South Carolina, Pennsylvania, New York, Virginia, Tennessee. And I think that people like the East Coast people can relate to these East Coast hunts more so than they can our Kansas and Iowa hunts. So we always like to throw as many of those hunts we can out to that group of audience, Plus, we love hunting in these mountains. This is where we grew up hunting.
So your tree stands are 25 feet up.
Some of them higher.
Yeah. It scares the heck out of me when I go out there with people like you.
Yeah, and the mountains are straight up and down here.
Yeah.
Straight up and down.
It's a lot different. I mean, I guess, we've been blessed. We've been fortunate to travel everywhere and hunt. And that's one thing we've tried to do. We want to be relatable to everyone when it comes to whitetails, like Chris said. And that's from hunting here at home in the mountains, going to Maryland, hunting in the swamps. We still get, we love chasing deer here, but we love going to the Midwest and chasing big mature whitetails. And then going to Texas. It's just fun to go to Texas. And we just try to be relatable for everyone.
Yeah. Texas is a lot of fun. And I've hunted around a little bit, but you know what? When it's cold and you get a little older like we are and you're shivering, you've been in that November weather in Iowa and Kansas or even, further north. To be able to go hunt Texas is a neat deal for sure.
Yeah. And it's one of those deals that if somebody has never been on an outfitted hunt, and they want to just go pretty much, and it's low fence, everything we hunt's low fence, but you have a really good opportunity to kill a buck in Texas. There's just so many bucks there. It's not like the Midwest. If you catch a lockdown in the Midwest, you could sit there for 14, 15 days and not see a buck, and Texas is a little different than the Midwest as far as outfitted hunts, as far as I'm concerned.
And they're moving around all the time. You just see a lot of deer, like you said.
You see a lot of deer.
Yeah. And are you hunting Iowa this year?
I am. Eric and myself are going to Iowa. We'll be going shotgun one. So that's a super fun hunt. It's always a blast. It's a more relaxed, laid back. We've just come off of the rut, and it's, the rut can be hard some years and it's just a grind. And when we go up for shotgun and stuff, it's just more relaxed, hang out with friends and kind of just chill out and just enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of the big, they call it party hunt up there, right? So you go, you can draw a tag just to hunt with that party and interchange them and stuff. Yeah. I've never done that, but my friends up there say it's just a ball.
It is. You just hang out with friends. It's a good time.
Yep. I've got a question actually here from Eric Hash. He goes, what's your number one tip to get into filming? What would that be?
Be relatable.
Yeah. I remember Mark Drury told me and Eric 16 or 17 years ago when we first got picked up to be on Dream Season, he said, hunters are a dime a dozen. As far as the outdoor industry, he said, hunters are a dime a dozen, but you've got to have that personality and you've got to be able to relate to the viewing audience. And he goes, that's rare. He said, so, a lot of people can hunt, but you've got to be able to tell a story and make it relatable to other people. And that always stuck with me.
I think, speaking of that, I think yours and Eric's, like the first thing they ever turned into, Drury, was a doe kill, right?
For our application video to get on Dream Season, We had never killed a deer on film, any animal on film, and we ended up shooting a doe with a shotgun. But we told a story of how we got to that doe, and we had to get a crop damage permit because it was September, and we just told a story. And I think the Drury guys loved that because it was different. It told a story of how we ended up getting to kill this deer, and it worked out. It worked out for us. We've killed some, we've done better since then than a doe, but hey, you got to start somewhere.
Well, absolutely. And, it's not easy filming with an extra guy standing above you, moving all over the place. And trying to make sure you get the right angle. And I believe you showed me video of one of the biggest deer you've ever had in front of you in Kansas. And the video, we could see the deer plain as day at, 10 yards from you.
Uh-huh.
But the video man had a great shot of it.
It was me. I was filming
You were
Eric.
filming it, yeah.
It was yardstick, and Eric was the hunter, and he was below me. And by my angle, the deer came in, world-class deer. I mean, by any standards, it was a world-class deer. I could have shot him 100 times, and there was one limb that kept Eric from, having any shot whatsoever, and he was on a doe. So it was quick, but I mean, the cameraman, and it just goes to show you, when you're in a tree and there's two people, the angle that you're seeing sometimes from the camera is way different than what the hunter's seeing. And, I had a shot at that deer, world-class deer. I could have killed him if I were hunting, but Eric had no shot, and it absolutely broke his heart, and he still talks about it every single day.
I usually remind him of it when I see him. Yeah.
It honestly seems like all giant deer, they do that, because Fishhook was the same way. The first encounter we had with him, first morning we went to timber, I rattled him up, and he come in 30 yards, and I stopped him, and he stopped behind some trees. He took a few more steps. I stopped him again, and he stopped right behind one big tree, and the back of his front shoulder and his vitals was covered by the tree, and Eric was over my right shoulder. And the second time I stopped him, he knew something was wrong, and he took off. And Eric was like, "What? Why didn't you shoot him?" I was like, "Dude, I could. Did you only shoot him in the butt?" But it's like in this year too, with the big deer Eric killed when we were in Kansas. The first time we were in Kansas, he came in. Then the last night we were there, and I was hanging out of the tree. I guess the roles reversed, because I was hanging plumb off the side of the tree stand, holding the camera down, trying to film him and get below a limb. And Eric could have shot him, and it worked out for him. He went back and killed him a few weeks later. But it's like all giants they got 9 lives, man.
They got a sixth sense.
You guys have hunted all over. So in which state you hunt, where do you see the biggest deer or biggest deer consistently, I guess? Because you guys kill some crazy big deer in Maryland too. Nobody ever talks about Maryland deer and those swamps and stuff, but
yeah, Maryland's a little hidden secret. Yeah, there are some absolutely giant deer in Maryland.
I think he told me he'd killed a 190 plus every year up there or something stupid.
You go across that Chesapeake Bay Bridge and you think of nothing but ocean. But you get out there and you cross that bridge and it's soybeans and corn, and it looks like the Midwest. But you're on the East Coast, right on the ocean.
And what makes it different, and what makes it, in my opinion, now the deer in Maryland are super, super skittish because of the hunting pressure. But what makes it, I'm trying to think of the right word. I guess you could say better. It's not better, but you've got all these big soybean fields and corn fields and crop fields, but they back up the thousands and thousands of acres of swampland that it's hard to get into, and they just have so much bedding and cover, and that's just where they live. And deer just appear that nobody's ever seen.
So how's it compared to the other places you've hunted?
Well, I'm going to say this. I've said this, for the last probably 10 or 15 years. Kansas, I know Eric and Jason have killed bigger deer in Iowa, but to me, Kansas is the top state. If I had to pick one state to hunt the rest of my life, other than my home state, it would be Kansas. And here's why. Because I've hunted many, many areas of Kansas, the east, the west, north, south. Kansas is one of those states that you can pretty much go to any unit, any county, and potentially kill the biggest deer you're ever going to kill. And you can't do that in many other states.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everywhere I've ever been in Kansas, I've been on giant deer, and it blows my mind the way it is. And it's phenomenal. It's an absolute, and there's not a giant behind every tree. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
Yeah, there's not as many of them that walk by yet as Iowa, right?
No, certainly not. But yeah. I truly think that Kansas is the state that you could potentially go to any county in Kansas and kill the biggest deer of your life. That's my opinion, which means very little. But that's what I think.
Probably for me, Kansas too. I love Kansas. I mean, my biggest whitetail come from Kansas. I like Iowa. But I mean, like Chris said, do you remember the time I came down and hunted with you and the unicorn came out? I had one afternoon and one morning, and a 180s came out. I mean, he may have been bigger than that. Do you remember him? Big, heavy trash. And he was like 70 some yards, and I didn't shoot. And I just that's one of them deer. He's just he's in the back of my mind, and I think about him all the time because that deer was huge. And I mean, did you know that deer? I can't remember.
I had some pictures of him. Yes,
he had a lot of mass.
He did. He was like, his main beams webbed out, trash. And that's one thing that I regret is I regret not taking that shot because I mean I shoot that distance all the time, but I don't like doing it on a live animal. But
right, yeah, and you're
on
somebody else's place, and there's a lot going on. I get it. I get it. Well, that's all. I've got another question here. Actually, Sam Doyle Jr. He was asking, how do you think the hunting show industry has changed since you started? And you've been doing it 20 years?
Almost 20 years.
I think
I know Sam. This, to me, it's more turned toward the social media. Social media is a big deal now, and podcasts and so forth. When I started, TV was a brand new thing. Hunting TV was a brand new thing. I grew up watching the VHS tapes of Monster Bucks and
the Drurys,
Drurys and Eddie Salter and all those guys, and that's what I grew up on. And then all of a sudden TV started when I started, and it was a big deal. And now, and it's just like everything. Things change, and it seems like it's a lot of it's coming back to the TV now. So, I don't know. That's probably the biggest change that I've seen. The sponsorship thing is a little different. I don't like switching sponsors. I hate that. I like to build relationships. Dan, you and I, and this
we've been together since the beginning of us starting in 2015.
Since day one, that's what I like. That's the kind of relationships that I want to build. I want to build friendships as well as, partnerships. And, that's changed a lot. That's changed a lot over the years. There's not a lot of, and I'm not going to say loyalty. I don't want to make anybody bad. I'm just saying there's not as much friendships, it seems to me, as there used to be back in the day.
And you know what I think has changed a lot of that? And again, not to be bad, but we've seen a lot of these, what used to be smaller hunting companies all over the place are now being gobbled up by these giant private equity guys, right? So they don't have a relationship with you. If they just bought one brand that you dealt with this year, they're like, I'm going to cut my advertising budget by 2/3. Goodbye. Don't know you, and that's the way the world works. Or some guy there decides they want to go do podcasts, and that's it. No TV this year. It just changed.
These companies get a new marketing guy, done. You're done. And they don't care who we are. They don't care how long we've been with them.
Yeah.
Done. And that kind of sucks because we build friendships, as well as partnerships.
Yeah, you build relationships. And I remember one time at ATA, and we walked in a meeting at ATA one time, and a lot of people don't realize. We have to pay. Like, we have to pay for our time slot, and we pay to travel and do all this stuff. We walked in one meeting, and they had switched marketing directors, and it was, I would say, probably half of our budget gone. And now you got to realize, like, we went through the entire hunting season.
Filming their stuff until you get to January, right? Yeah.
Then you walk in a meeting and it's like, sorry, guys. Well, and you're like, well, what are we going to do?
But it happens to everybody, Dan. It's not just us. I mean, we are friends with a lot of the people in the industry. A lot of these people are really, really good people and are good friends of ours. And they all say the same thing. And we understand stuff happens. I mean, if you own a business and, you can't, certain people can't come up with the money that year. We get it. We understand it. It sucks,
Well, and I'll tell you, I follow the advice of my marketing team sometimes too, which is, guess what, Dan? You can't spend as much money on TV. It's got to be more on social or some of these other things that are coming up through it. It needs to be a balanced approach, whereas before it didn't have to be a balanced approach,
Hey, Dan, look at that last comment.
What? What? I can't see the comments from here, but what was the last one?
Ward is hot.
What is it? Ward is hot?
Yeah.
Is that because you're sweating?
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh?
It's my girlfriend.
Oh, God.
I don't have the air on in the basement.
Oh, God, the fan clubs. Let me tell you what. Ladies, they used to be a lot of fun at ATA. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, didn't have it last year, though.
You know what? And I missed that. We were talking about it just a little bit before we came on with people. But, that's, again, it's such a relationship thing. And it feels like that's been taken from us in the last year and a half. And we haven't been able to see our friends and shake hands and talk about life again. So I'll look forward to seeing you guys again this year for sure. And hopefully in Kansas. But
you're right here's a comment, Dan. Mark Blanchard said, that's why I love Scent Crusher. When the CEO takes time to call you directly, that means something. And that's exactly what we were talking about with these relationships. We don't only build partnerships, we build friendships. And, we've all been friends and have hung around since day one of this show. And that means a lot to us. Well, and I know it does to you as well.
Absolutely.
I don't know why I just thought about this, but I remember before, like when I think you just started Scent Crusher. We just started Red Rising, and you actually flew to Iowa and come to our lease just to hang out with Eric and I one year, just to meet us before we ever. And from that day forward, we it became a friendship. I mean, we talk on the phone. At ATA, we go out. When we come to Kansas every year and hunt, it's like, hey, let's get together and try to do dinner.
And I don't talk about this very much, but when I started building that brand in 16 and 17, I took 54 trips in 52 weeks. Building the brand and working on the business, and I will tell you, some of the best times I've ever had in my whole life. I was exhausted. I'd sleep on the planes, but the chance to be able to meet people and build relationships and do it the right way from the very beginning has really paid off with the people and how they represent you and the relationships we have because of it. So,
right.
Yeah. So much fun. I mean, it shouldn't be done any other way.
No, really. I agree.
Yeah.
So does anybody have any questions about East Coast hunting or any of the Midwest hunting that we do in Kansas or Iowa? We're getting a lot of comments, Dan. I'm just wondering if anybody has any questions about
if I can look at
East Coast hunting.
Yeah.
Do you, while we're waiting for something to come up, do you guys have some pictures you could share of some deer that you're following this year or you took last year or whatever? Kansas deer?
Don't have any that we shot last year. I mean, I can transfer some from my phone, but I do have some that Chris and Eric will be lucky enough to hunt this year. Let me get them pulled up.
So
let me see here. Let me see if I can get this shared.
And if you guys see a comment from your site, we're looking at our Scent Crusher site, and I know we're sharing this across about 3 different platforms of stuff. So if you see a comment off your guys' stuff, make sure you mention it. There, here.
Can you see it?
Right. Yeah. Can you make those bigger on your?
Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
That's actually a deer. We call him Mr. Clean. He's just a giant 10-pointer. We was trying to figure him out last year. There's a different picture of him.
Oh my God.
We actually thought, we went back and forth until we seen him in person. We thought he might be 5. Eric thought he was 4. I thought he was 5. And when we seen him in person one night, he come running in, and I was like, big deer, big deer. And Eric was hunting. I was filming. And as soon as we seen him, we both knew he was a 4-year-old. So he 100% got a pass last year. I mean, that's a deer that could blow into something special.
But you haven't laid out cameras on this Kansas place yet this year to see
No.
what you got floating around.
Well,
Yep.
No.
Dan, we're going up the 21st and hang all of our cameras, our cell cameras, so we're going to know.
You know what, guys? I'm going to do you a favor. The season starts here on the 17th. Why don't you just drop me a pin that place, and I'll go hang a couple cameras for you?
Sure, no problem.
Yeah. Just go to where the pin's at. But no, we 100% know that he made it because we seen the neighbors pick the sheds up, so
Yeah, awesome.
he made it for sure. So there's that deer, and then here's a deer I don't even know that we named him, but he ended up coming in, and by the time we seen him, he had broke the extra beam off his left side and broke some of his other tines he'd been fighting. And I actually think he's a young deer as well. And then here's a deer that we named Swoop last year just because of how long his main beams are. That's a different 10 than the one I showed you. And we've got tons of foot. He's got a double throat patch. I just noticed that.
Yeah.
But Chris actually picked his sheds up this year, didn't he?
Yeah.
So we know that deer's alive. And then this was a big mature deer we called Little BB. We never seen him. We got pictures of him early season, and then he disappeared. Don't know what happened to him. And then here's the probably the number one. Yeah, he's the number one hit lister. This is Chris is going to be claimed to fame this year. This is a deer we call Hefty. Eric and we've chased him around for the last couple of years, and he's won. But he's always had a bunch of trash and kickers, and we just named him Hefty after the trash. But
he looks older. Do you know how old he is? I mean, is he?
I think he was 5 last year.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, we did not find his shed, so we're hoping he's alive.
Mm-hmm.
So,
wow.
But yeah, Eric says and claims that I've got first shot at him, and we will see, because I know how Eric is. Once we get out there, it may change, but that's what he says.
If that deer is within 30 yards of anybody, they're shooting it.
Actually, kind of a cool story. We were tracking the deer that I shot because Eric and I went to Kansas this year. It's the first year we've ever went to Kansas and came home with 2 tags. And you know, like we said earlier, I mean, we have full-time jobs. Everybody's got families. Everybody's got things to do. And we're like, crap, you know, we brought home 2 tags. I mean, we got a lot of deer in front of us. Don't get me wrong, but we were being very picky because of the deer we had to hunt. So Chris agreed to go back out and film me the week before Thanksgiving. And I ended up shooting the deer we called Wishbone. And while I was tracking him, I picked up Hefty's 4-year-old side while I was tracking the other deer still laying there. So
somebody asked, Dan, what's the oldest buck y'all have killed? I'm going to answer that. For me, filming Eric, I filmed Eric kill BB in Kansas. It was probably 6 years ago, 7 years, probably longer than that. Mm-hmm. But we know for a fact that deer was 9.5 years old. We had that deer every year from 3.5. He disappeared at 5.5. As they'll do, he came back and he killed him at 9.5. And that's amazing.
And was he shrinking the last couple of years of that?
He got
more trash.
He got bigger and bigger. He was, you know, he was big from 6'5" on, but it just seems like he just blew up. And you know, a lot of times when they start getting 7, 8, 9, they start going downhill. Mm-hmm. But he was 186. I think he was 186.
No, he was 182 and some change.
Anyway, he was 180s. But anyway, he was for certain 9.5 years old. That's the oldest known deer that I know we've ever killed, that we know the age. Yeah. Now, we have a doe on that farm.
I don't know how old she is.
That's a piebald, and she's probably, and I'm not kidding, she's probably 11 years old this year. And we saw her when we were shed hunting this year.
You call her Snowflake?
Well, we call her Snowflake, and that's amazing for a deer, a whitetail deer, to be that old.
I've never seen a piebald on the hoof and don't almost never hear about it in Kansas. You'll hear about it a little bit in Iowa and some of the other states, Wisconsin, Minnesota, but boy, not Kansas very often.
Right.
That's cool.
Yeah.
She got a big white spot all over her head and her forehead and everything. That's why we call her Snowflake.
Yeah, and we've got footage of her every year, probably since she was 2.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
There's a question here from Chris Johnson. He said, do you guys ever go after Sitka deer?
You know what? That's every time we went to Maryland, I'm like, I want to go after one. I want to chase one. And people's offered to do it, but when we get up there, we always get tied up whitetail hunting, and it just takes all of our time while we're there. Because normally when we go somewhere, we can't go for weeks on end. I mean, it's only a lot of times we go to Maryland.
5 days.
Well, maybe. When we go to Maryland, sometimes it's only for like a long weekend, and you can't hunt on Sundays. So season will open, and you go up there and you get to hunt a couple of days, and then you can't hunt Sunday, and then you hunt Monday. We just don't have a lot of time. But that's something I've always wanted to do.
I'm going to be honest with you. The first time I went to Maryland, I wasn't really familiar with Sitka deer, and I was talking to Danny Calloway about it. I hunt with Danny and John Third and so forth. And I started studying the history of the Sitka, and it's amazing. If you will just Google, the whole history of that species, it's really amazing how they came to be on the East Coast. And I would love to hunt for them, but they say they're tough, man.
Yeah, they say it's super hard to hunt.
Swamp deer.
Well, I'm a nerd. Now I want to go. I might be up tonight watching YouTube videos and researching on that because, that sounds interesting.
You can go to Assateague Island, and honestly, you can see people they take, because it's on the island, and people will take ladders, like 8 foot and 10 foot, like A ladders, and paint them camouflage and take them out in the brush and climb up on top of them, and that's how some people hunt them.
Really? Because they just can't. There's nothing big enough there to hang a stand on.
Mm-mm.
So they're just trying to get above the brush to see what's coming through it.
Yeah, and I've never been. I just know what people tell me, and just kind of when we go right around and just sightsee when we're up there.
That's cool.
Dan, I'm trying to read these questions that people ask, and I don't want to ignore anybody.
Yeah, go ahead.
Somebody said, do you ever have your deer scientifically aged? Eric does. Eric sends off a lot of his jawbones. I know he did one in Texas, maybe 2 years ago. And we thought it was younger than it was. And he sent it off, and it was older than what we thought it was. But yeah, he does that quite a bit. Somebody else asked, how did y'all find Maryland as a big buck destination?
That's Chris. That's
you.
I
became friends with Danny Calloway and John Third, and years ago I met him at the ATA actually, and he said he was from Maryland and wanted to show me some pictures, and you know how it is, Dan. People were like, "Here, let me show you some pictures," and I was thinking Maryland, that's going to be like Virginia, and all of a sudden it's like a 170 and a 180 and a 170, and I was like, "Whoa, this is Maryland?"
Chris started sending pictures. He's like, "Man, this guy's on the Eastern Shore. Look at these deer."
So I'm like, I started hunting Maryland.
That's a 2.5 hour drive, boys. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to read here.
Somebody said, "Is there an issue of CWD on the East Coast?"
That's a great question.
Yeah, it is a great question. Not much anywhere that we hunt.
No, but they did find one case.
In Pulaski.
In Pulaski, in an adjoining county. And Virginia is a weird state because we could bait through the summer, and we could use that, to get pictures and take inventory. But you had to stop. What was it? August 31st?
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was August 31st. You had to stop August 31st, and you couldn't bait anymore until completely after season. And then this year they found, I think it was one case, just one, in an adjoining county, and they shut all of it down and made it illegal to bait year round in certain counties because of that one case.
They don't even really know why it spreads yet. Do you think?
But no, it's not a big problem here. We've had some serious issues on our Kansas farm over the years, and luckily Kansas is getting a lot of rain this year, which seems to keep it down a whole lot. So we just pray for rain in the Midwest. Pray for it.
Well, we've had a lot this year. You're in good shape up there.
Yeah. We're excited about that.
I get nervous every year. Like, I never paid attention to the weather in the Midwest until we started hunting there. And now it's like, I'm looking there as much as I am here. I'm like, man, it's not rained in 2 weeks.
That's awesome. You have any more questions over there? You guys see anything else there?
Somebody said hello from Indiana. Yeah. Jason and I both used to hunt in Indiana with a
friend of ours,
Danny Clip.
Virginia is a sleeper state. I would love. I guess he's probably on the Eastern Shore.
He's not in Southwest Virginia.
He's not hunting.
He's in near Charlottesville.
Yeah.
You guys are in some of the prettiest ground ever for fall leaves. I enjoy being out there in the fall so much, and you are absolutely in the heart of it.
Let's see. And I've invited you, man. I know you love the trout fish. I told you to come out and trout fish.
I love the trout fish. Yeah, I am headed out in 2 weeks with Chase at Rebel. I'm a marketing guy to go view aspen leaves in Western Colorado.
You gonna fly fish?
5 days. We'll fly fish some while we're out there. Yep, and jeep around and look at the leaves. And so I didn't get to elk hunt this year, which I'm a little bummed about, but.
I was actually supposed to be in Montana. We go to Montana every winter in snowmobile, and I was going with my 2 cousins last week. We were going fly fishing, but we ended up canceling it because of the extreme droughts this year. They actually closed down some of the streams and stuff. Let's see here. Stop by.
Dan, if you want to come up to look at the leaves on the Blue Ridge Parkway in October, you come on up. I'll stick you in a tree, and when it gets dark, me and Renee will take you over to the mason jar.
Okay.
I'm
not sure what that is, but I'll just say okay.
Got a comment. Stopped by Bass Pro today. Picked up some scent crusher, laundry detergent, and some field spray stuff works. I will say a little bit, and it's not. I mean, when we film, we've got 2 people in a tree. It's twice the movement. It's twice the blob on the side of the tree. It's twice the scent in and out while you're in the tree. And I mean, that's. We love your product just simply because it works. I mean, especially with 2 of us in a tree. I mean, we need every advantage we can.
Well, thanks. It's been fun watching you guys with your success through the years too. So let's pick out. We're about 37 minutes here. Let's pick out one more question and answer it, and then maybe we'll wrap stuff up.
Okay, I got this. Not a question. We'll get a question in a second. But the guy that said Virginia was a sleeper state, he said yes, near Charlottesville. So that's what he went in Southwest. So
this guy, Clay Pitcher,
friend of ours,
has Chris ever killed a deer in Iowa? Clay Pitcher, I killed my biggest deer in Iowa. Cheeto. Eric and I went in, and we walked in and hung a set, and 45 minutes later, I killed the biggest deer of my life.
And to this day, it's one of the coolest hunts I've ever seen. I mean, he looks like a Brahma bull coming through, and I mean, he's a 300-pound plus.
It's the biggest body. Yeah,
he comes in and Chris smokes him, and like he runs and just nose dives into just a bare field.
Yeah, it was a great hunt. Eric picked the tree. We walked in, and he was breaking limbs, kicking them with his feet. It sounded like, somebody was cutting timber, and I said, we're never going to see a deer here. 45 minutes later, he walked right into the field following a doe, biggest deer of my life.
God bless you guys.
We won't answer that question.
Well, I'm just reading some of these comments, Dan.
Well, you guys, I want to say thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for being friends, team members, with us since 2015. It's been a lot of fun, and I just want to thank you, and I look forward to hearing about your success this year. So,
all right, buddy. Well,
hopefully we can catch up when we come in camera.
Yeah, and
catch up for dinner or something.
That invite to Virginia is open invite, and hopefully we can hook up in Kansas when we head out there. And thank you for everything you do for us.
Yeah, and I've told Chase too. I mean, you guys, hop on a plane, come out, drive. I got places you can stay, and we'll fish. Y'all can sightsee, and if you want to chase deer here, I mean, I'll be glad to put you in a tree.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you guys, and enjoy your week.
Dan, I want to say real quick, thanks to all of our fans. I mean, I don't know if we had many, But the ones that do, we really appreciate you watching us, and we're just good old boys. We work full time and we like to hunt, and we really appreciate anybody that's on here and watching, and it means a lot to us. It really does.
I mean, you're talking about, and I say it to a lot of people. I mean, being able to come out and hunt in Kansas, like with you and our lease in Iowa, and that stuff as a kid, I grew up watching, and it was a dream. It was truly a dream. And I mean, I still go out there sometimes and I just stand in awe and look around like I'm blown away, because I never ever thought I would have the opportunity to do some of the things that we get to do. And I mean, yeah, like Chris said, thank you guys. I mean, it means the world to us.
Yep.
You know what? I'm going to have you guys sign a T-shirt for me next time you're around too. All right.
Okay. All right, we'll do it.
Because you're awesome.
Rollins to sign one too.
It's great seeing you guys. Take care.
You too.
See you guys.
Right.
Bye-bye, guys.